My sincerest apologies for that interruption. That should not have happened, and what I think is that the person who was cleaning in the other room knocked the modem plug or something out, and that cut us off. So I'm really sorry about that, everyone. But anyway, the last thing we were talking about is where the story's continuing with Doma in 4.2. And like I said, basically, Gosetsu sacrifices himself to let us, along with Hien and Yugiri, escape the crumbling Doma castle. We thought he was dead, and our characters are still led to believe he's dead right now, but after the ending, we saw that he is in fact alive, and he has Yosuyu with him. And so he's kind of been traveling with Yosuyu, who's still very much alive, which is kind of a strange thing. It was like she was crushed beneath the roof of the Doma castle there, which is it's kind of crazy, really, that she would really still be alive in the first place. You wouldn't expect that to be the case, but regardless, it did happen. She's still alive, but she does not have any memories of who she is or who she was. She's completely changed, basically, you could say. And so like, she's just kind of brain dead and suffering from amnesia right now. Like, she can't remember anything. She doesn't even remember Gosetsu, for that matter, and he's just kind of stuck with her, which I assume is in regards to you know, his honor as a samurai. I think that's what a lot of that ties into with this next story we're going to see, is that, yeah, he knows that, you know, she's the evil, corrupt woman who, you know, destroyed their nation and sent many of their people to their deaths, or converted them to following Imperials. And, you know, she was just despised by a lot of her people. And he knows all this, Gosetsu does. But yet his honor, or his pride, has made him he swallowed his honor and pride, I should say, for the sake of peace, I guess you could say. And he, you know, he rescued her with him and kept her alive. And we'll probably get more background story on Yotsuyo here in this patch as well. Like, basically, you know, her full backstory, instead of like what we've been discovered of her in Stormblood, which is basically, you know, her family, her parents died when she was young, so she was adopted by her aunt, which is the Nayuri family in Doma. They adopted her, but they didn't really treat her the best, and she was kind of treated very poorly, very roughly by her aunt and her uncle. They did not treat her at all with much respect, and just kind of treated her like she was a black sheep, pretty much. So there was that, along with as she grew older, she was basically sold off to pay the family's debts, the Nayori family's debts and stuff like that. And basically she, it's not, it's not publicly said, but, you can kind of get, like, a greater idea of what the story meant was basically, you know, she was sold off to be a whore, basically. So, it was not, she did not have a good childhood, good life growing up. And, you know, she was forced to do all these things just for her family's sake, so that they could maintain a good status quo with their imperial conquerors, basically, who marched in. So she was treated pretty poorly that way. And later on, her family even forced her to marry, you know, a guy whom she did not love whatsoever. But her family told her that she had to do it to save their family and help their family gain prestige or wealth, you could say. And so she did that. She married this guy and did all this, you know, just so her family would kind of respect her, you could say. And that's why, you know, she started to grow this hatred of her people, of her family in particular. But that hatred spread towards all her people and not just her family, which led her to seize an opportunity when Garlemald took over Doma, and she basically began acting as a sort of spy because her husband, apparently, whom she was forced to marry, had a high notoriety or reputation with the Doman government, so she was able to get close enough by his connections to the Garleans, and she basically sold out the rebels that were trying to liberate Doma from the Imperials. And when she something caused her to snap, basically, as she says in one cutscene. She saw a Doman lying beaten on the road and bloodied from being, you know, harassed by the Garleans and forced to pay, like, you know, these tithes or taxes, you could say. They were taxed on things, and this guy, poor guy, they beat up, like, probably didn't have the money or something, so they roughed him up good, and Yotsuyu said that she felt like a rush, a relief. A pleasure started growing in here, seeing this broken man desperate, and, you know, she just lost it, basically. And that caused her to continue to go down that road and do what she did to Doma. And so she worked along with the Empire a lot, and also recruited others to her cause, which readily gave in to the Empire's might and betrayed their people in the sense of the word. And you learn more of this in the ninja story too, of course. The traitor ninja Gekkai and his followers assisted Yotsuyo in overthrowing the rebels and destroying Doma, and that caused them to have some serious backlash, and the people were oppressed for a long 10 years in oppression. And in those 10 years, Hien, which was the son of the Doman Emperor at the time, Lord Kaien, he rose up from shadows. When the Empire first came in, he had Gosetsu take his wife and his son, Hien, and hide them away from the Empire. But Hien came out of hiding within those 10 years of oppression, and he led the rebels again to fight against the Empire and try to liberate their homeland. But because Yotsuyu had assistance from Gekkai and his guys, their every move was already watched from behind the shadows, and they were betrayed. And so and this is what leads to the disappearance of Hien again and Gosetsu. And this also led Yugiri into the lands of Eorzea. And that's the story in the nutshell there for Doma. And they're continuing upon this story here, the story of Yotsuyu and what she did and everything in 4.2. So it's some exciting stuff if you're like me and you really appreciated hearing a different take on things instead of always being stuck to Eorzea. Which, don't get me wrong, Eorzea is a great place. We love it. We love our Limsa Lominsa, Costa del Sol, the gold saucer and everything, and the dragons. But it's a nice thing to be able to connect with like a different side of the world of Hydaelyn and experience things through their eyes and what they've been going through. So I am personally myself excited for this story, the expanding upon this Doman story, and I'm really interested to see like how they tackle this problem of reestablishing their way of life and then having the person they hated the most return again, but she's a blank slate basically, so they will have to come to like a critical decision, much like Alamigo did with Ferdola in the Alamegan story that we got in 4.1, where they'll have to make a critical decision. Do they allow her to live and atone for her sins, her crimes, or do they execute her as the traitor that she was and be done with the whole affair? But their hands would be then stained with blood, like kind of like like Yotsuyu was, how her hands were stained with the lives of many of her countrymen. Their hands would be done the same for murdering her, for her treason, her treachery. And so you kind of had, this two sides of justice here. On one hand, she can become a new person, a completely new character, basically, because she's literally, like I said, blank slate. She could become a new person, new character completely, and learn to accept the Doman people in a new light, basically, until something triggers her old memories to, resurface, in which case, then that would be probably Hien's responsibility to deal with her then, if her memory triggered back all of a sudden, then that would probably fall on his shoulders to decide whether she would needed to be executed after that point, or whether to discuss things with her to see if she's willing to continue her path of repentance, or if she'll just throw it all away and contact Garlemald again and cause more war, basically, more havoc for the Doman people. And so that will be really interesting to see how they handle that situation. And it might be different from Fordola, but I'm just kind of comparing the two, where it's going to be like a similar circumstances, but like Yotsuyu's got more blood stain on her hands than Fordola probably had. So And again, they were two different characters, but similar circumstances, you know, kind of forced them to become villains, essentially, and give in to the tyranny of Garlemald's imperial reign in their respected nations. So it will be exciting stuff. Now, along with that, there's going to be 2 new dungeons. There's one that's Hell's Lid, and if you don't know what Hell's Lid is, basically it's an area. It's area in the Ruby Sea that's by that first station where you meet the pirates, the Confederacy. It's where that area with all the magma and lava, basically. They call that Hell's Lid. And that's pretty much where that dungeon will probably be at, so there was something to look forward to there. And then we're getting a hard mode version of the Fractal Continuum. Yay! So if you enjoyed the Fractal Continuum, well, guess what? You get to re-experience again with more challenges. It should be pretty fun, for sure. So there'll be probably a lot of wiping to start, you know, because people got to get used to it and, you know, learn things. But usually it's not too bad. They don't make things so insanely difficult that you can't surpass them, because these dungeons are going to be part of the expert roulette, essentially. These will be dungeons that you'll be grinding in the expert roulette from now on. And speaking of expert roulette, if you weren't aware, the devs are allowing us to queue up for 4 dungeons in expert roulette instead of 2 like it was before. So that's always very nice to hear, is that they're allowing us to have more options in expert roulette instead of having to spam into the same dungeons over and over and over. It gets really tiresome and wears you out after a while. So these 2 new dungeons will be added to the queue. So we'll have Fractal Hard mode, Hell's Lid, Scala, and probably still Alamigo, I would assume, only because it's main story related, and they still want newer players that are just getting there to be able to surpass this. So they'll probably still have Alamigo in that queue as well. So Kugane probably will get Kugane Castle and Ralgur's the Temple of the Fist, sorry, will probably get snipped out of the expert roulette, sadly. I'm sad because Kugane Castle's a really beautiful dungeon, really beautifully made and presented. So rest in peace, my beloved Kugane Castle. You shall be missed. Or maybe you really enjoyed Ralgur's the Fist of the... Gosh, I can't say this right for the life of me. The Temple of the Fist. Maybe you like that dungeon a lot. Well, that will disappear as well from the queue. So it will only be relevant, you know, as something to tome grind or glamour farm, basically. Kind of sad, like I said. So if those are dungeons you want to experience still and get, like, you know, glamours or whatever from them, now is the time to definitely spam those 2 dungeons before they're clipped from expert roulette. Now after that, we're getting a new trial, which is a new set of trials from the sound of it, called the Four Lords. The starting lord, I guess, that we're gonna be dealing with here is the White Tiger, known as Byakko. And this ties into, you know, ancient Japanese lore and stuff. So, you know, they have 4 gods that they believe encompass their sort of world and stuff and protect their world. That being Bayako, the white tiger, Genbu, the turtle, Suzaku, the firebird, phoenix, whatever you want to call it, and then Kirin, the lord of the skies, which is azure dragon. They describe it in English localization. So those will be trials that we will see in patch updates moving forward. So, like I said, the first is the white tiger Byakko, and there is extreme to follow, of course, because, you know, they always continue the trials with the mount farming, which is for Stormblood, it's wolves or doggos, people call them. And they're very unique. And so far they've given us three of those mounts so far to kind of grind for. Usually it's about I think 9, because we got like what, 9 ponies for that cuting mount, and then for Heaven's Word there were 9 birds for the phoenix bird. Which would be Suzaku, which is kind of interesting, you know. There's a wolf, and it's really hard to wonder whom they're gonna place as under the wolf, because, like I said, we have Kirin, Suzaku, Byakko, and Genbu, the turtle. So this makes me think then that this mount that we'll be getting from the wolves will be Amaterasu. So that would be cool to see what Amaterasu ends up looking like, you know. Maybe he'll be like a golden wolf. Which, if you're a Zelda fan like me, a Zelda fanboy, then that will make you think of our dear beloved hero, our Ocarina of Time hero, Link. The one who kind of perished and came back as a ghost in Twilight Princess as a golden wolf. Makes you think of that. So, who knows? It might be something like that, or something completely unique for Amaterasu. So that's definitely something that will be cool to see. And like I said, the 4 lords is what they call these set of trials. So we'll have 4, where that means we'll have, after by Byakko there will be 3 more. So that will give us a total of let's see, we have Sano, Lakshmi, Shinryu, then Byakko, Genbu, Suzaku, and Kirin. That will be 7. That's 7 so far. So after those 4, maybe possibly getting 2 more. Like I said, they usually have a lot with these. Like I said, there was a lot of ponies and a lot of birds that you had to kind of grind primals for. So they've been keeping to that same set of numbers, so it's possibly that may be all we get to, is just those 4, the 4 Japanese gods there. So those will probably be what we get in the even patches from here on out, is those primals. And speaking of primals, we are getting a new beast tribe, and it's as everyone suspected it would be. The Ananta clan, the snack ladies, those snacks, snacky ladies, those will be the new beast tribe we get in 4.2. They didn't discuss in detail about them, though. They just kind of, you know, like I said, this live later was all about teasing us, basically introducing everything. They didn't really go into super great detail about these things. They won't until, you know, the next live letter, like I said, that'll be middle of January. So next month, be looking forward to that live letter. And they'll be discussing more details about all these things that we've been teased. And, you know, kind of showing off the 4.2 trailer and touching upon key points there. Interesting enough, they didn't tease too much of the new gear, although we did get a few screenshots of the new dungeons, so if you haven't already, maybe you'll want to go check out that section of the live letter. That's up right now on YouTube and on their Twitch page, Final Fantasy XIV's Twitch and YouTube pages. It'll be up there, so if that's something you want to check out and kind of analyze, I do believe they were teasing off some of the new gear there. Now moving on, there's the new raid tier that we're getting. This is going to continue the Omega series, which we started back in 4.0, which is, you know, Omega, involving that story surrounding Omega there. So they're continuing that with 4.2. And with that, it's kind of a predictable movement at this time. You know, we've all come to expect it as maybe not so much if you're a newer player, but if you're veteran players like me who've played this game, you know, since 1.0 or since 2.0, then you've come to expect this by now. But there's going to be new tombstones for this patch that they talked about, and this tombstone they're calling Mendacity. And, you know, a lot of streamers and people in the live stream were, you know, joking about that. You know, hey, we're gonna be men farming. Did you cap your men this week? Oh no, I'm short 34 men. Oh my gosh, they just kind of turned it into this meme, if you would. So yeah, great stuff. Capping your men tomes. Mendacity. Oh boy. Internet is just full of memes these days, isn't it, guys? But yeah, new tombstones coming 4.2, and that means they're probably going to be snipping what was it, creation, or no, not creation, but the bluish green one. Sorry, I can't remember the name of it right now, guys. But they're cutting, they're probably going to be cutting that one out, and then they'll be combining that item level 310 gear, which is the Alamegan gear in Relger's Reach. That will probably be combining with the creation set gear, the Lost Allegan gear, for Tomes of Creation. So we'll be getting an overhaul of creation tomes from here on out. Oh man, crazy stuff. So, and with that introduction of the new tomes, Mendacity, that means that also the weekly cap restriction will be removed from creation tomes. So if you haven't caught up, or maybe you were thinking of gearing up a new job while you're waiting for 4.2 or after after 4.2, sorry. If you're thinking of maybe gearing up another job, then this will be great for you to catch up on that job that you've maybe started and got to level 70 but haven't geared up all the way. This will be a chance for you to gear those what people are dubbing alt jobs. Or secondary jobs, some of us call it. You'll be able to gear those up pretty fast now in 4.2, because you'll be able to just grind out and receive a big chunk of tomes, creation tomes, and then the weekly cap will be placed upon it will be placed upon the Mendacity tomestones instead. And of course, with the raids, there's always weekly restrictions on those too, so you'll have the four fights, four raid fights in Omega, same as before. You get one piece of loot from those 4 each week, and only one. Plus you'll get a special item, usually upgrade items for tome gear. So these means we'll probably be seeing special upgrade items, or items to obtain a new weapon, possibly the next higher tier weapon for us casuals, us filthy weeby casuals, us filthy casuals will be able to move up the ladder slightly, just a little bit though, not by much, but just like an inch inch or two, with this whatever this item will give us ability to get a new tome weapon of sorts. But since we're on the weapon, they've spoke more about the Forbidden Band of Eureka, surprisingly. At this point, everyone was just kind of like disappointed with Eureka, and they're not expecting it to be a huge success. But in this later they just kind of said, don't worry you guys, we are planning to give you this this content to use, and it's gonna be something different. It's not gonna be Diadem 4.0 or Diadem 2.0, I should say. It's not going to be a new diadem, they assured us, so it's still up to speculation. In this particular type of content here, they are saying, and what they've told us in interviews, Yoshida himself and crew, they've said that in Eureka you will have progression, basically, and this progression will help you build upon your relic weapon. And also, this is something new that they're also trying out, is relic gear, a relic gear set. So not only will you be grinding up hours on a weapon, but also on a relic gear set. Now, whether said gear set is incredibly amazing or something, something great that will like the look of, will be yet to be seen. But even if not, like I said, glamour overhaul changes are coming, so if you don't find your relic stuff is desirable, then you can have other options to look at for glamoring over those. But I suspect that then with Eureka and then this next tier of Omega Savage coming out, that the relic weapon will probably rival like the Omega Savage weapon in like functionality and purpose. So like I said, if you're a casual player like myself, filthy casual for life, if you're like me, then Eureka will be something for you that you can just grind out for hours upon hours and you know, upgrade your weapon and gear at the same time. That's a very important key thing, is that you'll be doing them both simultaneously. So this will help you get stronger at a much slower pace, mind you, but not so slow that you fall behind like where the raiders are at, you know, the groups that are doing Savage. You won't fall behind them, so you'll both be progressing relatively at the same rate, but it's possible that Eureka might be a little bit faster even, and so the hardcore raiders might end up just doing Eureka so that they can challenge, you know, this raid tier and then reap the benefits of whatever comes out of you know, Omega Savage, whether that's gear for you know, alt jobs, or maybe they just want to get their groups cleared through it, just say they did it, you know, and then using our as they brought up several times in this live letter, using the replay feature, getting videos out of their progress and teaching, you know, showing it to their groups and teaching everyone else in their free company or link shells or whatever group that they're a part of, teaching them through these replay videos, like how to get through Omega Savage and handle each mechanic. So that will be fun. It will definitely spice up the formula a bit here, make things a lot more interesting and you know, more lively, you could say, in a sense. So that's definitely something to look forward to. Both Eureka and Omega Savage progression, which, like I said, the progress should be relatively at the same pace. No one should be ahead of the others, but I'm probably guessing, like I said, Eureka may be turning out to be the faster of the two options, you know. Or, like, if you don't want to do either one of those, if you find Eureka's not for you, like it ends up being completely too grindy and snooze fest for you, then maybe you'll prefer to do Savage raiding, or just capping your weekly tomes and getting the you know, getting the the casual easy gear, or what a lot of hardcore players will refer to as welfare gear. Basically, you know, just what they're giving out to you after you've capped your weekly tomes for the week. So you can do that as well. So if you don't want to do Eureka, or if you don't want to do Savage Rating, you can just continue on like everyone else, almost every other person, you know, the casual fan base. You can just continue with them and do the weeklies. Although this, like I said, this will make it so that you're behind, you know, the people that are doing relics and the Mega Savage raids. You won't be ahead of them in terms of stats and everything with your gear, but you'll still be able to do all of the content that they can do, basically. Because that's something that the devs are very strong about, is that, you know, hey, yeah, your stats will be lower compared to them who went the extra mile to get all this glorious and supreme power for their characters, so that they can challenge any face of adversity that rears its ugly head, such as you know, the ultimate unending coil fight, for example. There'll be those people, you know, doing this stuff, raiding and that Eureka. They'll be able to face that challenge head on, whereas, you know, we, you know, more casual, laid-back players will just continue to play at a calm, soothing pace, not trying to beat any records or anything like that. So, and that's the nice thing about this game in particular, is, you know, that it caters to both of their player types, both the hard endgame players and also the more casual fan base players who like, you know, just sitting around in their houses, their free company house, their private or their apartments, or maybe even in the open world, just hanging out with their pals, their friends, their groups, you know, chatting in their chats or voice chats, whatever, you know, just enjoying the game overall. So it's really nice in that regards that Final Fantasy XIV has done an extremely great job at catering to both spectras of the player base there. But, you know, again, you know, with the so-called supposed elitists. Hold on, let me get my special email for that term there. For those, let me find that silly emote. Those supposed elitists. They claim that Square Enix does not give a shit about them. They don't care about them. Like, they just come up with all these ridiculous these theories, these stories, you know, that, oh, the Square Enix hates their hardcore players. They shit on us and they give us very low content, and they don't care about us, you know. They're just ridiculous, these so-called supposed elitist players who say, oh, well, we've beat everything. We know how this game works in and out and all that, you know. Ridiculous people like that in this game. It's like, dude, get over yourself. This is a fucking video game, for Christ's sake. A lot of us do not give a shit if you've destroyed your life or given up, you know, your liberty for just a game. Like, get over it. You know, there's people that have lives who play this game. They have a life outside the game and they play this casually to enjoy it or to just blow off some steam after a hard day's work. Or, you know, maybe they just do it because they really enjoy this game. You know, they come to log in every day to play this game. You know, they're not here to be the very best that there is in this game and be able to brag constantly that they're the best and they know better than everyone else, you know. That kind of attitude is what destroys communities and such, and that makes a lot of, you know, newer players feel intimidated, and they stop playing after that because of these elitist behaviors. And those are the players that we don't want to see in this game. We want people to see the people who are enjoying this game. And that may be why, perhaps, you know, the dev team focuses more on more casual content, essentially, and they give the hard/midcore just a small trickle of content to challenge them with, is because the majority of us playing this game here, we're casual. We play this at our own leisure and just play it for the sake of playing, or play it to enjoy it, you know, enjoy as much out of it as we can. And that's why the development team focuses more on that spectra of the player base, is because they see that spectra is doing incredibly well, and that's what causes their sales to go up and keeps this game up and running, basically, is that the casual player base are the ones who stick with this game for the majority of this game's lifespan, this life cycle that we're on. When all it's said and done, you know, that's all that's left once we've reached, you know, that very end point where this game is, you know, no longer receiving support from Square Enix, you know. Or rather, I shouldn't say from Square Enix, but from the development team itself, you know, when there's no longer support there for the game, and content that we do get is just minor and reduced to, you know, small, like, adjustments to things, and, you know, maybe how would I say, maybe a dungeon, like, every so often, a new dungeon or something like that. When it all boils down to it, that's who's left once the game has reached that point, you know, is just the casual fan base who continue to keep playing this game even after, you know, the main story's gone, and all we get is side stories, like additional stories, and just small quality of life changes, adjustments, fine-tunements, like more end-game kind of stuff, like PvP, for example, or open-world stuff. It's the casual fan base that continues to play after that point. And that's why, like I said, the development team focuses more on that side of the equation more so than they do the hardcore and midcore players. But anyway, that's a whole entirely discussion for another video. Sorry for rambling on about that, folks. we're here to discuss more 4.2 and not all that messy drama. My apologies for trailing off. But anyway, there are some small adjustments coming with 4.2. More quality of life and UI updates, which is always a great thing. We like seeing them give us these small but very useful adjustments to make our gaming experience a lot more enjoyable, a lot more relaxing. And along with quality of life, this is the biggest one that people have been highly hyped about and have also been disappointed in turn, is housing crisis. Talking about carried away, we might get carried away with this topic next, but in any case, they mentioned it briefly in this live letter XL or 40. They kind of teased it a little bit. They didn't go in greater detail because, like I said, they're working on prevention measures to make sure that no one will get the jump ahead and abuse all this hard work that they've put into this newly structured housing system that they're trying to work on. So they're kind of keeping it under wraps and disclosing it only to Square Enix employees, etc. So they're not giving out a whole lot in interviews at this time because, like I said, they're doing prevention measures. And why they're doing prevention measure is because they don't want the servers to crash and burn when they're needed the most, for players to be able to enjoy this feature, you know, this housing feature that everyone wants to have a go at, you know, and, you know, kind of everyone should have a go at, because a lot of MMOs on the market currently have a housing system that is far more superior to the one we got in this game. And that gets a lot of people upset, you know, that it is that way, that things are limited here in this MMO, and that we don't have all these nice features and additions to our housing that other MMOs on the market out there right now have. And this has led to lots of disappointment, lots of anger and frustration. A lot of players taking a longer break from the game, away from the game, because you know, they're just really tired of being ignored, and they feel like you know, the development team isn't divesting nearly as much time or energy into this as they could. And that's something that Naoki Yoshida himself is trying to really stress on here, is that, yeah, we've heard your guys' pleas, and we've seen your frustrations, and, you know, we're working on it, so please have patience with us, is basically the point he's trying to get across to us, is that he wants us to have faith in them still, that they will do us right by revamping the system and adjusting it to cater to our needs, so that, you know, we're kept happy, essentially, and that we don't need to stress or worry, you know, about never gaining access to a feature that a lot of us want to be able to enjoy, either personally or with friends, you know. So it's something that they're looking into more deeply now, and Naoki Yoshida has assured us that things will pan out, because they're going to be monitoring this new system very closely this time, so that they can finally resolve the matter once and for all, is what he's saying. Is that they're getting and that basically puts out the red flag that they're getting tired and getting sick of having to deal with the same song and dance, the same tune, a repetitive tune, you know, with this housing issue. And you know, when you get down to it, it is kind of silly and childish, you know, to get mad over a virtual house of all things, you know. Like, it is a nice thing to have. Like, especially, like, for myself, this is my own private apartment room right here, and as you can see, I've invested into it quite well. I've decorated it, which, you know, that cost me quite a lot of gil. And that gil, I had to invest a lot of time in doing things to earn that gil, so that I can have this private space to make videos like these, where I'm not going to be worried about getting interrupted for whatever reason while I'm recording or streaming. So it's nice to kind of have your own little private area, you know, like this, to decorate in any fashion that you so choose to or want to. Plus you can add in stuff like from the in-rooms, like back here I'm showing you that crystal bell and the armoire. Those are features that were only accessible to in-rooms, but I got enough gil to get them or have them crafted by friends or people in game that I've recruited through PF. And I spent my hard-earned gil, in-game currency, to get this stuff and have it all fancy and dashed out to look the way I want it to look. And this is just an apartment, by the way. This isn't an actual house, sadly. I'm one of those poor, unfortunate souls that didn't get the house when Shirogane was launched, and you know, I was angry at first, like other people were, you know, and said some things that I probably didn't mean. It happens, you guys, but, you know, I'm just happy that I still have my own little space to call my own. And that's really all that matters in the end, is, you know, I have this room here, this space to do whatever I want to, and just, you know, casually relax, sit in, visit with friends and whatever, to my own leisure, and record top subjects videos such as these. So, and speaking of apartments, Yoshida also made comments about expanding upon the apartment feature and possibly like giving us a little more space than what we've got right now. So possibly what that could entail is that if you pay like a fee, possibly to end the NPC outside, in the lobby area, it's possible that if you pay a fee that you might get sort of an extension to your apartment, if you will. Like maybe maybe get like an extra room somewhere, like to the left or the right or behind maybe. Or maybe even get like sort of like a basement area or attic kind of area maybe. It's not real clear right now at this time. We're not sure what that entails really on apartment fronts, like what that means, how they're gonna expand upon the feature, you know. It could be anything really, like communication can be sometimes vague between interviewers and Yoshida. Like they'll try to get across and we'll understand what they're trying to get across, but like the developers will be like thinking of a completely different mindset. Whereas, you know, we're thinking, no, Yoshida, no development team, no. We don't mean like, you know, more to be able to add more stuff inside the room itself. You know, have like 1,000 be able to put like 1,000 items in the room, you know. That's not at all what we mean. We mean like we want to have bigger floor space, bigger room. Much bigger space, Yoshida. Dev team. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about just having, you know, storage closet or things like that. The storage closet is a nice thing that to have, don't get me wrong. It's nice to be able to have extra storage, you know, to put housing stuff so that they don't disappear when we move out or whatever, and getting angry over having to buy them all over again. So this storage thing does help alleviate that problem, but like I said, Yoshida and dev team, that's not the issue we're trying to get across. Oh, jeez. We want big space. More cubicle space. More mass, Yoshida. Maybe he'll understand that if, you know, maybe he'll understand that if they speak it in mathematical terms, possibly. Say, bigger space, Yoshida. Bigger metric space. More floor. That's what we want. That's what we want. Arigatou gozaimasu. Yeah, that's what we want, is, you know, we want more available space per unit, not just, you know, storage closets and more furnishings, to be able to place more furnishings, not that. Not that. More metrical space within the instance. That's what interviews should be using in their wording, you know, instead of just saying bigger, smaller. We want bigger rooms, big room. Because I don't think they concept that answer, you know. So even though it's pretty simple, but like sometimes you gotta be a little more intelligent with your answer, so that, you know, they can understand a little bit better than they do currently. But anyways, there's gonna be new side stories in patch 4.2 as well, which they actually said that would be 4.25 instead of 4.2. So, and this new side story, if you haven't guessed already, it's Hildebrand! Hooray! Favorite detective. Our beloved buffoon detective Hildebrand has returned to us once more. And this time he is in the east, in Hingashi and Doma. That's where he's ended up after our last escapade with him in Heaven's Word. And his dear mommy dearest launched him into the sky far away to the east. So we'll have more Hildebrand. So that will be fun too, as well, you know. And like I said, more adjustments, more quality of life for us to look forward to. And that basically, that covers everything in a nutshell, you guys. That's all we've learned so far of 4.2. Like I said, they will be going in greater detail in the next live letter to come. And that will be live letter 41. Or, sorry, 40 part 2. And that will be the middle of January. So, if you want to learn a whole heck of a lot of what we can expect and what we will see in 4.2 series of patches, then definitely make sure that you don't miss this next live letter, because it'll be a big one, the biggest one for this patch. This is where we'll get into the big minute details, and we'll learn everything that we need to know about 4.2, and I'm sure it will answer all of our questions that we've wanted to know, especially, like I said, the big housing crisis and everything like that. Those questions will be answered, I'm positive of it, in this next live letter that we can expect to see. With that, this discussion will end here. Thank you so much, guys, for watching and viewing. I hope this bit of information helps you and increases your hype levels even more for this game. And this is going to be, like I said, the start of the new year. This is going to be the start of the new year for this game, basically, 4.2. And it is looking pretty swell. We're kicking off with a good start, so much hype, very much hype for 4.2. A lot of hopes riding on this. Hopefully it turns out really good and something that all of us can enjoy. This and that, and yes, I mean the casual hardcore elitist guys too, that we're not always on good terms with in game. Yes, even those guys they'll have stuff to do in this 4.2 patch too, so they're not getting completely shoved out, you know. They will get their love, just as we casuals get our love too. So please, please look forward to this patch, you guys. With the scheduling, it might come as a inconvenient time, most will say, because at the start of the new year, January particularly, there's a lot of new games coming out that are being released then, such as, like Dissidia NT and Monster Hunter World, which is probably the biggest one right there, Monster Hunter World. A lot of fans of the series are widely looking forward to that, and they want to enjoy as much as possible, and there's probably going to be hours to grind out in that game, as usually is in that Monster Hunter series. Lots of missions to go on, and lots of weapons and stuff to collect, resources to gather, you name it. So that will be something in the same month. How they manage to pry people away from, those types of games and stuff, it makes you wonder. But like I said, there's much hype for patch 4.2 here. Very much hype, and it's looking pretty good. Lots more new content to do, although relatively the same formula, dungeons, raid, and primal plus beast tribe, so it's much the same formula that we're used to, so it might not be as much to appease or keep us vested into the game for very long. But again, they always do that weekly restriction thing, so that's how they basically keep you, in a sense of the word, is oh gosh, sorry if you can hear the vacuum in the background, guys. Maybe it'd be a good time to close the video here with that, so that you guys don't get interrupted by, my voice isn't interrupted by the sound of that very loud and obnoxious vacuum outside. Poor timing. Yeah, I know. I can't tell the lady when to clean, So yeah, it makes you wonder, kind of how they're going to incentivize us to stay in the game for 4.2 all the way till 4.3. It makes you kind of wonder, because like I said, same basic formula, and with all the other games coming out, at the same time, things may be a little bit more quiet in Final Fantasy 14. But I'll try to still be around, guys. Don't worry. I gotta make more fun videos like these. It's something I enjoy doing in this game for sure. So please stick around and look forward to more content. And speaking of which, on my closing note here for the video, as I mentioned in the weekly Twitch stream, if you weren't there, I have a stream schedule set up already for this month, for the remainder of this month, I should say. That being next week, coming up here on Tuesday the 19th, I will be doing the same weekly Twitch stream, but with that, basically, it will be a holiday special stream. Sorry for the loss of train of thought there, but yeah, this weekly Twitch stream coming up will be special holiday streams, so get your holiday spirit on, guys. Get your nice warm Christmas sweaters, your Santa hats, your Christmas mugs, your eggnog, Christmas treats ready to enjoy the stream. And of course, we'll be playing some fantastical and tacky but very seasonal music during the stream. Because hey, it's a holiday, why not, huh? So we'll be playing some holiday music to increase the spirit of the season. So look forward to that, guys. That's on this Tuesday coming up, the 19th. I will inform you if there's any cancellations, etc. on the Facebook group or the Discord group, if you're a part of the Discord group. So I will inform you of any cancellations for sure. But for now, that's kind of what we're set at right now, is that the stream will be on the 19th. And it will be our special holiday Twitch stream. Aside from that, after that stream, we'll be streaming the Starlight Festival celebration in Eorzea. That will be streamed here on YouTube. That's the same week, so also look forward to that. It's I did it on an alt just to see how it was, and it's a pretty short event, you guys. It's not too painful. You could easily get all the stuff that you want to get within, I'd say, a half hour, maybe less. So basically, an hour or less, you'll have all those neat Christmas goodies from this event that you want. And I'll be streaming. I'll be streaming that event the same week as the Twitch stream, which is starting on the 19th. That's the Twitch stream date. And then after that, after the 19th, we'll do the Starlight Festival stream here on YouTube. And then after Christmas, guys, I will be streaming on YouTube Final Fantasy XV, the full game. Not just like how I already have the game we were given upon its release, but I will be streaming the full game of Final Fantasy XV. This will include episodes Gladio, Prompto, episode Ignis, and also Comrades. I will be streaming the whole thing. That will be starting right after Christmas, essentially. So look forward to that, you guys. And tune in then. And I've kind of rambled on over long, so sorry for that. But thank you again for watching this video and watching all my videos that I've come out and my streams. Your support is very, very meaningful to me. Especially, like, you know, in hard times that I've gone through, you know, in the last few months here. It means a lot to me having you guys subscribe or view the channel and my videos that I've come out with here. And even seeing like a single comment or like kind of brightens my day. And that's important to me, so thank you guys very much, and you know, if I would have a New Year's resolution, like most people do, or so, I shouldn't say most people, but some people do, it would be to gain more views, more subscribers, and push out more content for you guys to enjoy. So again, I want to thank you guys very much for all the support. It does mean a lot to me. And that's not a lot of thing, you know, streamers will say. Usually they'll say, you know, thank you and goodbye. And that's it. They won't really take this time like I have now to really stand and thank you and express gratitude that you're here listening, here watching. So, like I said, sound like a broken record now, but yeah, like I said, thank you guys. And we'll see you in the very next video. Happy holidays, everyone.